What is up, legends? It's Mark here, and in this live, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I can tell you this, it's going to be a good one. What I'm looking for is somebody to pop in the comments. First off, let me know where you're listening in from. You know the drill. Where in the world are you listening to this live from? And then number two, ask me some questions, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one that I'm feeling inspired to talk about and basically talk straight at the camera for 45 minutes straight, because that's basically all the time that I have today. All right, so let's make it a freaking good one. Let me know in the chat where you're listening in from. I'm gonna get the chat pulled up right here, and let's make it a good one. What is up? What is up? What is up? By the way, if you guys haven't seen my video yet on making video ads for Facebook or for TikTok, doesn't really matter where, probably just those two platforms. It's my most recent video on the channel. So if you haven't watched that, you should pause this freaking video right now and go watch that video, because probably one of the best videos that I've ever put out. I'm not gonna lie. It's super tactical. You know, I don't expect it to get like 100,000 views or anything, but I don't really care about that. You know, what I care about is adding the most value to you guys, getting you results as quickly as possible. That's what I'm here for. So let's see what we got. Tom, what's good? What is up? Mr. Afro Guy, Wisdom Path, what's up? David, what's good? From the Netherlands, James, England, Romania. From the UK, we got Germany, Finland, NYC, Quebec. California, best name I've heard for California. I love that. Dude, if you took all the communism out of California and it was just California, do you know how many fucking millionaires and billionaires would live there? Even more than there is now. But my God, especially Southern California. It's beautiful there, bro. Like, beautiful. But unfortunately, they had to fuck it all up. It is what it is, man. Can't have it all. All right. What's up? What's up, guys? By the way, for everybody who did watch the video yesterday on creating video ads, what did you think? Did you like it? Was it helpful? I hope it was. That's basically the process that I follow. Now, it's never going to be one-to-one. I try to bring it down as much as possible because I have a team, you know, and that's a big advantage for me. I have creative directors, I have editors, I have media buyers. So I've assembled all the pieces that you really need. And that's not to say like I'm just like sitting back and, you know, fucking sipping pina coladas in Mexico. No, that's not what I'm fucking doing. But I'm still in the trenches working every single day. But in terms of like the tactical stuff, like I'm not editing videos for my ads, right? We produce 20, 30 plus creatives per week, per brand. So we do a lot. If you're trying to do it all yourself and you're at that scale where you can hire a team, dude, build a team. There's no pride in being the guy that's doing like $8 an hour tasks just so he can be the guy that's grinding all day. That's just fucking stupid. Poland. We got Poland in the building. Shout out to Poland. I know only bad words in Polish. I can speak like 5 languages. And by speak, I mean like I know like 5 words in each of those languages, and they're all bad words. David, yo, that video was dead ass peak, bro. I'm gonna start using your method as soon as I find my product. I love it, man. I love it. If you guys aren't using AI and being curious about it, you absolutely should be. I use AI every single day. Every single day. If you're not using it to make decisions, if you're not using it in your personal life, if you're not using it in your business, you're just not going to make it. That was a good question. TT, where do you hire? So, okay, another great question. But here's the thing, man. I have the benefit of hiring people like within my network, right? So a lot of times I'll put up posts on my IG or on my business partner, Alex's IG, or on our Facebook groups or to our list. And we get a lot of really good applicants from there. Outside of that, there's a few really good Facebook groups where you can hire really top level talent. Shout out to my guy, Alan Sultanich. He has a group called Nothing Held Back Job Board. Some really, really great people in there. I mean, Alan is just a legendary marketer. So if you haven't checked him out, you should. And he has an amazing Facebook group where you can post jobs in there. Additionally, man, we get a lot of really good people from running ads on LinkedIn. So I'll just be careful on selecting countries, which is going to be dependent on the position that you're hiring. So, for example, like if you're hiring a media buyer, typically countries, the US has some, some good people, but I would look in Europe, especially like Eastern Europe. You can just find some lethal media buyers there. And yeah. Jay, I DM'd you Chief on Instagram from your last YouTube video. I'll get it to you, bro. I'll get it to you. I promise. I'm a little busy. No, I'll get it to you, man, though. I got you. Key Toil. I don't know how to say that name. Would you ever do a video on your diet or daily life? I'll probably never make a day in the life video, man, because it would be one of the most boring videos, perhaps of all time. Like you'll watch these day in the life videos in Miami, especially because it's kind of ironic because I live in Miami, and it'll be guys, waking up at like 9 a.m., doing their fucking ice baths, sauna, going to the gym, posting shit all over IG about how awesome their life is, then maybe working for like 2 or 3 hours, and then immediately like going to the beach, like doing all this fucking lifestyle influencer shit. And to them, all power to them. I'm not here to judge. But my life is not like that, and I'm not going to pretend like it is. I work a lot, man. I wake up like 5 a.m. I try to work undistracted for 4 or 5 hours, go to the gym, come back, and continue to work until I go to bed. I mean, that's mostly it. Sometimes I'll take breaks to go play basketball or to be with family or something like that. But for the most part, it's just like wake up, work, gym, work, sleep. So for me to make a day in the life, it would probably be it'd be about 90 seconds long, and it would not be an enjoyable video to to watch. In terms of the diet and like the exercise, I could do a video on that. But again, it's not going to be like me working out. It would be more so me explaining my philosophy behind training, which I'm happy to do that now. If that's something that you guys are interested in and you want to hear like the way that I approach diet, I'm always testing something. Like when it comes to my fitness, there's always something that I'm testing. Either it's like a new steroid. No, just kidding. I'm not on steroids. A new cycle. No, it's basically like adjusting my sleep schedule, adjusting my diet, adjusting my pre and post workout meals, and adjusting the way that I train, like high reps versus low reps, high intensity, low intensity. I never do fucking low intensity, but you kind of get what I mean. Or I'm always focusing on one particular muscle group to grow during a specific period of time. So if you guys want to hear about that, I'm happy to talk about that. I can talk about that all day. Ryu Curtis. Mark, what's your advice for working while studying in college? I'm not sure if I want to drop out. Bro, you don't have to drop out at all. My advice to you is you have to get ridiculously good at studying smart, studying intelligently. I'll never forget, man, when I was in college, I had friends that they would be studying for 2 to 3 times the amount that I would, yet our grades would be just about the same. So you need to get really good at being extremely efficient with your time. That's one realization that I made when I was in college that completely changed everything for me. Because if you're in college and you're also trying to run a business and you're like also trying to, if this is you, if you're also trying to get into the gym, work on your physique, that's a lot to juggle at one time. So if you're not just fucking ruthless with your time, you're not going to make it. So what I would do, I would spend anywhere from like 2 to 3 hours per day studying. And then honestly, that's maybe I would say 2 hours a day studying. But what I would do is I would either go to the library where there's absolutely zero distractions, and I would leave my phone in my dorm room. So I would have no distractions. I have this extension called, I believe it's just called Freedom. I think it's called Freedom, this Chrome extension that blocks out any other distractions. And I'll put on a very specific type of music. It'll either be one of two things. This is actually good because even if you're not in college, this will apply to you. So there's 2 types of music that you can use to influence the brain waves that are most conducive to learning. And so the brainwave that's most conducive to learning for the most part is the alpha brainwave state. That's like this relaxed sense of learning. And so it's a little bit more creative. Now, if you want to take it to another level, there's also the beta brainwave state. And the beta brainwave state is much more, so let me draw it out. So if this is alpha right here, the brainwaves kind of look like this. And then beta, on the other hand, looks a little bit more like this. So there's a much higher frequency in your brain, which means that typically more cognitively demanding tasks are going to be the beta brainwave state. So think of like kind of just buckling down and getting the work done. But if you're learning, then you want to flow into that alpha brainwave state. And so what you can do is there's two types of music that can actually kind of artificially put you into this state. And for me, I'm a very musical individual. You know, I've played the piano myself since I was 8 years old. So that's like not quite 20 years, but like 15 plus years I've been playing the piano. So music heavily influences me. There's never a time where I'm doing deep work and not listening to music. It's like 100% of the time I'm listening to some type of music. And if you want to be, you know, like an NPC, put on your lo-fi music. I've definitely done that for sure. But you can study even smarter than that. Like bringing it back to what you need to do, you need to be extremely smart with your time. So when I was studying, I would put on one of two types of music. The first is called binaural beats. So binaural beats, you can look these up on YouTube. You want to either get, depending on, you know, did I spell that right? I think that's how you spell it. Depending on which brainwave state you want to get into. So for me, if I was doing, I was in a state of learning, right? If I'm consuming like a lecture or I'm studying for a class, that's the alpha brainwave state that you want to tap into. So I'd go to YouTube and I would search alpha binaural beats. And what it shouldn't be is just the tones. And so the second type of music, and I'll explain what I mean by that, is called isochronic tones. Now, isochronic tones are, the best way I can describe them is that they're more intense, right? If you put on an isochronic tone, it's really when you want to have that extremely high level of focus. So meaning you're actually doing something. You're not like consuming and learning. You're actually in the act of doing something. And isochronic tones literally is just one singular tone created. It's like, it doesn't sound pleasant. It does not sound pleasant at all. You get used to it as time goes on, but I believe that the way it works is that it'll play two different frequencies in your headphones. So like you absolutely have to be wearing headphones or earbuds for this. It'll play two different frequencies, but they'll be basically a delta between the two, which is kind of like a difference in the tones of anywhere from, I would have to check what it is for beta. I think it's like 8 to 11 hertz, and it'll create a change so that the net tone that you're hearing is anywhere from like 8 to 12 hertz, right? And so what I would do is I'll put on one of these two types of music to be really conducive to studying, and I would set a timer for anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. So again, it depends on what type of work you're doing. If you're studying, I would always put on the binaural beats, in which case there'll be like a little bit of synth in the background, and you'll be able to like, you know, consume everything really well. And if I'm really actually dialing down and working, like writing an essay or working on a particular like mathematics problem or something like that, then I'll put on isochronic tones, beta isochronic tones, by the way. If I'm doing binaural beats, I want to use alpha. So that's what I mean by studying smart. I would also, this is difficult because it's a double-edged sword, but you learn the most and synthesize the most amount of information when you're sleeping, not when you're awake. And so if you really want to make sure that you do really well right before an exam, for example, I was a master of fucking cramming. I would cram the fuck out of my exams, right? And so what I would do is I would spend probably about like 6-ish hours before my exam, mostly in this binaural beat state where I'm in the alpha brainwave state, I'm learning, and I would follow the tiers of learning. So I'd have this music on the whole time, set a timer, all distractions completely away, and I would do like the hierarchy of learning, which if you look at what this is, okay, yeah, like this one, for example. So the hierarchy of learning, right? Learning pyramid. Okay, it's really kind of blurry, but you'll get the idea. So at the very top is just like consuming content. So like a lecture, reading, and then you add in the audio. So you have like audio visual learning, and then you add in demonstration so that you can see the thing that you're learning actually acted out in real time. And so I would follow this step by step until I got to the point where I was at the bottom, which is where you have the highest level of understanding of topic, which is when you're teaching other people how to do something. When you're teaching other people how to do something, that's when you really, really understand something at a high level. So what I would do is I would go through this column with the music on, and I would basically, I'd go back to my dorm room when nobody was there, and I would start teaching the topics that I was going to have an exam on the following day as if there was like somebody there. I was just speaking out loud. And when you do this, you'll naturally fucking suck at it. And that's all by design. Because the more that you do this, if you do this like 3 to 4 times in a row, you're going to find out exactly where you don't understand something super fully. Then you go look at your notes, you speak it out loud a few times, and you start over. You start teaching it to nobody once again. And so that's the level that I would use to understand topics really quickly, be a master at cramming. And it seemed to work pretty well for me. I mean, I graduated. I didn't graduate college. Nobody gives a fuck. No, but I finished my 2 years of college, I believe, with the 3.5. I think it wasn't a straight 4.0. I'm not gonna say I got straight A's. I did for the first year, but the second year, I like COVID hit, and my business started doing really well. And there's times where I just wasn't even going to my classes, so my GPA dropped a little bit that semester. But other than that, like I was mostly a straight A student. And it's just by studying smart. Like you don't have to be a high IQ, super intelligent individual. Like I was never that guy that could just walk in to a class, to an exam, and just fucking ace it with no practice. That was never me. But I was the type of guy that I was trying to play the game of learning how to study. Because I'd go see my friends in college. I'd go walk into their dorm room, and they got like 2 basketball games going. They're like sitting down on the ground and like half studying, half watching the game. And I'm like, you're going to take like 3 times the amount to actually learn the information as me, because I'm just studying smarter. By the way, this applies to everything. This isn't just with studying, just learning shit. It's a game. It's a process. And if you learn how to play the game, you can learn stuff a lot faster. Does that make sense? Oh, another quick little hack, guys, is with this music, you can test out. It's also about finding out where you get into the flow state the best. And for me, it was these 2 things. Another thing that I would also test out is a specific type of classical music called, I believe it's pronounced Baroque, but it's BARO, OQUE. I think that's how you spell it. And Baroque music was a specific time frame of music that was produced like classical, and the BPM is the important thing. So the BPM mostly is supposed to match the BPM of your natural resting heartbeat, and so most people's heart rate is typically around like 60 beats per minute, which if you do that in like double time, that's like 120 BPM. So if you match those up, there's like some theory that explains that you'll be able to better understand information coming into your brain. It was typically a rotation of these 3 depending on what it was I was working on. And try out what works best for you and just learn how to play the game. What is it that you are able to use to just get into that fucking zone, lock in, no distractions, and it's almost like everything else around you just disappears. It's just you and the work, you and the studying, you and the information. What is that thing to you? Hopefully that was helpful. Next question. Chase. Noise canceling headphones on but no actual music playing gets me in perfect workflow. Yeah, like I said, everybody's different. I had a mentor of mine, a copywriting mentor, really well known in the space, that was like, if you're writing copy, you don't want to be writing with your brain, you want to be writing with your body. It's an energetic practice of you getting the information out of your brain and letting it onto the page in a creative way. So you shouldn't be like in the super like focused Adderall like focused state. That's not how you should be when you're writing copy, because then you're just like trying to force your way to writing good copy, which if you know anything about writing copy, that's a bad way to do it, right? It's a creative practice. You want to feel free. You want to feel creative. And so he was saying this to me, and I tried it out. He's like, listen to the music that gets you in that energetic state. And for me, dude, I have a pretty fucked up music taste. Like, think of all the music that you probably would think people listen to in the gym, like the standard shit, like heavy metal, fucking dubstep, like angry fucking rap and shit like that. Like, that's a lot of what I listen to. And so I tried putting that on while I was writing copy, and I couldn't fucking write because my brain is always thinking about the lyrics. And he's like, oh, you should have the lyrics because it'll get you in this energetic state. I was like, yeah, but then I just end up focusing on the music because I love the fucking music so much that I was never able to get into that flow state of actually writing copy. So for me, copywriting, I can't listen to music with lyrics in it because it completely distracts me. So it's all about finding what works best for you. Everybody has something that works different, and that gets them in that specific high energetic state and highly creative state. Like, the difference between these two is one is highly creative and one is just, I got to just fucking lock in and get the work done, which work done, just one's more creative. That makes sense? Cool. Mikas, could you talk about your diet? What's a good diet if you want to have good focus but also have good performance in the gym? Okay, we can go down quite a rabbit hole here. If this is something you guys want me to talk about right now, I'm happy to. Just write the word diet in the chat if you want me to go over like my diet for maximum productivity, maximum efficiency, but also having good performance in the gym. Because what I've noticed is that there's a lot of, business influencers out there that, number one, they just spew out so much bullshit regarding health and wellness and performance that being able to like want to put on muscle and like have a big, like nice, healthy physique and also be productive, then it's kind of hard to like reconcile both of those. All right, I'm seeing a few no's, so I may make that like an unlisted video if you guys want to check it out. Let me go through some of these other questions. Cybird, love the last vid, Mark. Do you think Facebook would shadow ban by secretly increasing CPMs? Mine suddenly hit 150 out of nowhere. Yeah, they absolutely do this. I wouldn't call it shadow banning. You can just call it like flagging. There's something like CPMs are tricky, right? Because there's so many things that can affect what is increasing your CPMs. And I hate to say it, but there is an element of it that is completely outside of your control, right? Because part of it literally is just the industry that you're selling in, the niche that you're selling in. If you were to compare the niche of, let's take a really competitive niche like skincare. If you were to compare like the CPMs and the skincare niche in the United States with let's take another, a really undersaturated one. Like, let's say, I would say like the gadget niche or like the home niche, typically significantly less competitive than something like the skincare niche. Part of that is just outside of your control, man. It honestly is. The only thing that you can do at that point is simply change industries or change niches and start selling in a different one. Now, if that's not what you want to do, then you have to play the game of getting your CPMs as low as you possibly can in the niche that you're in. Now, maybe the lowest that you possibly can is going to be like $20 or $30 in one industry, and then another is going to be like 10, right? So there's a lot of things that influence your CPMs. I mean, you have the audience that you're testing to. So think of everything that's going on within the ad set itself. Are you advertising in the US or a different country? US is always going to be the most expensive. Second to that is going to be everything else in the big five, which is UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and yeah, that's it. The other one is the US. So those countries would be next. And then you would have the tier one countries. So think of high quality countries in Europe, for example, like Germany, Italy, France, Sweden, Norway, etc. And then you have countries that are going to be even like tier 2 and tier 3 countries. So think of a country like, these are typically like second and third world countries, which truthfully I probably wouldn't recommend selling in at all. I would stick to US only, big four, or if you want to start a little bit more broad and a shotgun approach, you could go with just all the tier 1 countries. So you have that influencing it. Then you have the actual audience within that country that you're targeting. So are you using interest audiences versus broad? What type of broad are you using? Are you using broad interest, just no targeting whatsoever? Are you using Advantage Plus? They're all going to have different impacts on your CPMs. Next is going to be what a lot of people don't realize about CPMs is that they actually, so Facebook is always grouping advertisers into a bunch of different categories. And one of the categories that they group them in is, of course, on the campaign level, right? You have the sales objectives, you have like engagement, you have leads, you have all these other campaign types. Now, obviously, if you compare the CPMs of an engagement campaign, it's going to be extremely low, right? Probably under $2 or $3. Now, a sales campaign is going to be one of the most expensive. The two most expensive campaigns that you can run on Facebook is sales and leads. Sometimes leads is even more expensive than sales because for the businesses that are trying to do lead gen, one lead could be worth like $100,000. For example, think of a home buyer. One lead, that's worth like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, like one lead. And so they're grouping them at the campaign level, but they're also grouping them at the ad level. So let's say you're not an absolute moron and you select a sales campaign because that's what you should be running like 99.9% of the time. Now, what about at the conversion event level? For example, are you running the purchase conversion? Are you running the add to cart conversion? Are you running a custom conversion? So one of the things, there was a time, I think it was last year, that we were just getting destroyed by high CPMs. It's out of nowhere, right? The entire account, we went from an average of like 30 to an average of 60. And all of the other metrics stayed the same for the most part, which means our conversion rate stayed the same, our AOV stayed the same. It was literally just the cost on Facebook just went crazy. So one of the things that we tested was creating a custom conversion that was not identified by Facebook. So when you go through the process of creating a custom conversion on Facebook, you have the option, it's not mandatory, it's an option to mark that within a specific category. So for example, everybody on here, probably running e-commerce businesses, right? You want to get sales. So if you go and create a custom conversion around a sales objective, then it's basically the same as running the purchase conversion campaign that you're going to run anyways. However, if you create a new custom conversion and you don't identify it, Facebook has no way of knowing if you're optimizing for purchases or for leads or for engagement. Well, it wouldn't be engagement because that'd be a campaign, but it doesn't really know, right? And so we tested that and we actually ended up switching almost all of our traffic, all of our campaigns to the specific custom conversion instead of the standard purchase conversion that everybody else is running. Because the purchase conversion, like the farther down you go through the funnel, the more expensive it's going to be to optimize for that. The farther down the funnel you go, the more expensive it's going to be to optimize for that because that's closer and closer to the sale, to the exchange of currency. So that was another thing that we tested. Another thing that influences CPMs is going to be all the Facebook infrastructure. So for example, Pixel, a well-seasoned Pixel is very likely going to have significantly lower CPMs than a seasoned one. Same thing with the ad account. If you're to take a seasoned ad account, probably going to have significantly lower CPMs than a non-seasoned one. Or for example, agency ad account versus non-agency ad account, also going to affect the CPMs. You also have the business manager, the BM. So is that BM going to be seasoned? Is it going to have previous ad accounts on there? That's also going to affect the CPMs. How about the domain? Yes, also going to affect the CPMs. And so if you have CPMs, man, if you have CPMs, it's just a game of testing what is triggering the increase in CPMs. Because I've only gone over a few things. Like there's still more. That's the crazy part. The actual ad that you're using also has a significant impact on your CPMs. What is the exact language in the ad copy that you're using? How about the copy and the creative? Like, are you using a really aggressive hook? Are you using like before and afters? Are you, what type of landing page are you driving traffic to? So that's another element about the ad is the lander. So what is the language on the landing page? That's another reason, by the way, that I actually enjoy writing and running VSLs and advertorials, is because if Facebook sees that you're driving all your traffic to a page that's just like, buy now, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit, my shit's so awesome, your life's gonna be changed, blah, 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 blah. They're gonna penalize you with high CPMs if you do that. But if you're sending traffic to a page that just looks like a standard article, that's pretty low risk in terms of Facebook viewing that in terms of their users and protecting their users. Facebook has two objectives, right? They want to generate as much fucking ad revenue as humanly possible, and they want to do that, number two, not at the expense of the user experience. And so if you're causing a negative user experience, then they're either gonna completely shut your ass down, or they're going to flag you and increase your CPMs, or even worse, probably even worse, altering the quality of traffic that they send you. If Facebook wants to send you just shit quality traffic and keep your CPMs the same, they'll do it. They'll fucking do it. They have I don't think you understand how much data and control they have. There was a period in time where we just got golden traffic for like a week straight. It was one of the most insane things in all of my 7 years of running ads on Facebook. We were spending initially like 10 to 15K per day, and we scaled up to I think around $40,000 a day in spend profitably, like super profitably. Just like overnight, all the ad costs just cut in half, and everything on the landing page side stayed the same. So like we just doubled our profitability overnight. We really didn't change anything. We changed almost nothing. And then it lasted about 7 days, and we went right back to where we were. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced. But I'm like, during that process, I was like, I'm not going to touch shit because this is happening right now. It's going great, but I'm not going to touch it. Like the universal rule of media buying is if something is fucking working, don't touch it. Don't go in the ad set and just at targeting. Don't increase the budget even. Start by increasing the budget externally before you do anything. If you have a video on Google Ads, then don't bother. But in general, do you think they're a viable option when just starting out? It's from Whistling Weasel. Dude, Google Ads are super, super powerful. Depends what type of ads you're running. If you're just talking about setting up a search campaign, in my experience, it takes a lot of, like, the way that Google works versus Facebook is complete opposite. Google works really well with starting broad and then narrowing down and cutting out all the noise and all the nonsense and all the bullshit to only your most profitable audiences and keywords and countries and demographics running. Then Facebook is like the opposite, right? You maybe want to start a little bit more narrow, and then as you scale, you let go basically of all control, fucking Advantage Plus, Chad, duplicate, double the budget. Like that works, right? Very, very different. And so because of that, Google Ads oftentimes can take a little bit more time and thus capital to really get dialed in. I have tried running Google Ads cold from day one on a new store. Personally, hasn't worked out for me, but that could simply be because I don't have the right strategy. Google becomes most powerful in terms of like the search campaigns. It becomes most powerful for me in retargeting. I know that the CPCs are obviously going to be a lot higher than that of Facebook because people have search intent. Like if there's one thing that you can give to Google, it's that people have the intent of purchasing, right? If somebody comes across an ad on Facebook for a posture corrector, it's called interruption-based marketing, versus Google, if they search for posture corrector, that's called intent-based marketing. One of them is going to have a significantly higher conversion rate than the other, and of course, it's the intent-based one. So that is the advantage. But aside from that, man, it's hard to get those up and profitable as quickly as you can do with like Facebook or TikTok, just in my experience. But if it's Google Shopping can work, a little bit faster. Same process though, right? You're going to start relatively broad, and then you're going to narrow down and cut out all the bullshit. All the people that are clicking off of specific placements or specific locations or demographics, you cut all of those and just focus on the most profitable. Do you think isolating yourself from social life and locking in actually helps you gain success? I think every entrepreneur, every very successful entrepreneur, they all go through this phase that is really dark, it's really lonely. They cut their friends, cut all the bullshit, but they don't yet have any results. I call this, the winter phase. And the thing that really characterizes the winter phase is that you don't have results. You're putting in all the inputs. Everything is going well in terms of the work that you're putting in, but you don't see any of the results yet. I think it makes for a good story, honestly. I'm personally a fan of it, but then again, that wasn't even a deal breaker to me. That was something that I honestly wanted to do. I wanted to just cut everything so it was just me and the work. So it wasn't even a difficult decision for me to make. I just wanted to fucking do it. Oh wow. Mark, what do you think about testing products with cost caps at the beginning? I can't say that I've done that before. I really like where your head is at though. See, this is the fucking type of thinking that I love, which is starting by doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. The only thing, man, is like you want to make sure that the product is good first. You don't want the cost caps to be the reason that you weren't profitable. You don't want the bid to be the reason that you weren't profitable. When in reality, it could have just been that the product wasn't good or that the funnel wasn't good or that the creatives weren't good. Like you're basically adding another variable to that, which I understand why, but you want to make sure the product is validated first before you experiment with media buying. Except, have you dealt with BM/slash ad account bans when starting out? How likely is that to happen to newbies, and how should we deal with it if it happens? Dude, I have dealt with BM and ad account restrictions like nothing else. So it doesn't really even phase me anymore. It's definitely likely to happen to newbies if you don't set up things properly. I typically recommend people go through at least a very small ad account warming process just to slightly lower your risk of getting shut down. Because if Facebook sees that you open a BM and then you create a page and you create a pixel and you create an ad account and you go straight into running conversion campaigns all in one day, like that's considered a risk to Facebook. Remember, they will do everything that they can to get revenue from their advertisers without harming the user experience. And that could be something that potentially causes a bad user experience. Oost, I'm in the winter phase, Mark. Finally the year. I'm moving to Miami though. Life's about to change. Dude, it's actually funny you're in here, man. I know you're in basically everyone, dude. I appreciate that. But yeah, and you got a call with Alex. Bro, we were literally talking about you this morning. I hope you know. We were talking about you within BBA. Like our leadership team. So we see the fucking work that you're putting in, dude. Keep fucking going. If you keep fucking going at the intensity that you're going at, you're going to be maybe one of the greatest case studies that we've ever had. Mark my words. Taked. Mark, can you please on Get Hooked how to get a UGC AI avatar with original background? Because when I put the photo, it goes under the avatar's background. Dude, send me a DM about this, please. And it can definitely help you out there. By the way, I know there's a lot of people in the lives, man, that are like, you see the same faces. If you're here on the lives consistently and you're taking action on everything that I'm saying, not only are you like in the top 1% already, but you guys are all helping each other win. And to me, that's the most beautiful thing that I could ask for with my brand. It's really not about me at all. It's about just like building up the people around me and the community around me so that everybody can fucking win, and not be a fucking dick about it. We're all just, no ego. Everybody's just here to get better, period. Help a hand, help out those who are a little bit ahead of you. help out those who are a little bit behind you, and the ones that are ahead, help out. It's like the law of 33%, right? You should have 33% of the people at your level, another 33% above your level, and another 33% below your level. So you're helping, you're learning, and you're also strategizing with the people at your level. Lolo, how do you balance women with an entrepreneur life? Specifically, especially living in Miami. This goes back to the seasons, man. With women, it comes to the seasons because there's a time and place where you should explore finding, for me, it's all about like finding a long-term woman. Like there's never a point where I'm just like talking to women to do something short-term. Like the long-term is always in mind for me. So you have to decide what season that you're in, There's no problem with just blocking yourself out, increasing your value as a human being, learning a very valuable skill, building a business that you're happy and proud of that makes you a lot of fucking money. And then once you're there, you can create the systems and structure in place so that you can have the time to like go out with women and do what you need to do to find your girl. That's my philosophy about that. All right, guys, I got to end this really soon. So spam a few extra questions in there. And then I got to run, in the next few minutes. This is a great point, though. Bro, I looked up your doc with different pre-sale pages. How the fuck do they convert? They're ugly as hell. We probably need to update that doc, to be real with you. But this is a really good point because oftentimes the most ugly ass fucking landing pages are the ones that just print like nothing else. And so just because they're ugly, never use that as a reason to determine whether or not they're successful or not. I could pull up offers right now that are doing multiple 7 figures per month, and you would probably throw up in your mouth because they're so fucking ugly. But it's as the saying goes, ugly landers, pretty profits. Ugly ads, pretty profits. Stop optimizing for aesthetics if you're trying to convert cold traffic. You're trying to convert them, not impress them with how awesome your fucking website looks and how awesome your ads look. You know what I mean? What did the guy you mentioned do to get so good? Dude, that guy, Ooze, he's on the fucking come up. Our most successful client inside of BBA and ESS, I can't say his name. he's gone so big that I can't say his name. But he's fucking destroying, bro. He's doing very, very big numbers. All right, guys, that's it for today. If you guys want to get access to Get Hooked, you can obviously hit the link in the description. If you want to join our mentorship Brand Builders Academy, hit the first link in the description. And if you want to meet me in Dubai and join the monsters of ecom, the top 1% of guys in this fucking space, I'm hosting a live event in Dubai, February 28th through March 2nd. If you want to join, only by application. It's a pretty exclusive event, only for people that are already generating good amount of revenue in their brand. If that's you, hit the, I don't know, it's some link in the description. Check it out. Fucking buy it. Be there. All right? It's worth it, I promise. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.